Well, here I am standing on the entrance to the pathway, the walking path. I'm on the Philadelphia side of the bridge, so of course I'm standing in the city in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and the traffic that you see is headed in two directions, east and west. West into New Jersey, and east into New Jersey, and then west back into Philadelphia. Now I've just spun around, and I did slow the filming down, I think by 20%, just so you guys don't get dizzy. We're looking at a few of the buildings that stand next to the bridge in the part of the city that's called Old City, and trust me, the scenery gets a whole lot better, so hang in there. Now we're looking down at the train tracks for the high-speed line, the trains that run in both directions, from Philly to Jersey and Jersey back to Philly. It's an absolutely beautiful day. There is quite a bit of wind, so I'm going to try to keep that noise as low as possible. Now we're looking down at, I believe that's 3rd Street. If I remember correctly, Pierre's costume shop there, the old costume shop that's been there since the 40s. And this is the old part of the city that was founded first. And then the city grew as it moved towards the west. Normally, of course, at midday on a Monday, the streets would be crowded, the walking paths would be crowded, the bridge would be crowded, and there are people out and about, but not many. It's the old Wilbur chocolate factory that's been converted into apartments, as you can see. Now, of course, we are allowed outside. And what you cannot see is I've got my rubber gloves on and my mask, and as long as we stay 6 feet away from each other, we are permitted to be outside. There were people walking, jogging, biking on the bridge. I tried not to do any filming when people came close by, just to respect their privacy. It really was nice to be able to get outside and feel the sunshine. As you know, I live in the city and I don't have a front porch to sit on. I have a roof to sit on, but the only outdoor activity that we can really get here in the city is walking on the sidewalks, and I figured the bridge would be pretty safe because I'm obviously up in the clouds and keeping a very safe distance from anyone that I came in contact with. One of the newest apartment buildings you see there on the right. Very interesting architecture. Unique, I should say. Really pretty rooftop deck there. Now just panning back to my right over the city. and now you're just beginning to see a hint of the Delaware River on the right. Oh, there we go. Okay. The city across the bridge, of course, is Camden, New Jersey, the home of the Victor Talking Machine Company, later to be RCA Victor, and of course the Campbell Soup Company, and then other companies that were quite well known in this area, Van Sciver Furniture, and I know I'm leaving many others out. The bridge in the distance is the Walt Whitman Bridge, to cross from South Philadelphia into southern New Jersey. There are 4 bridges, actually 5 if you count the Bristol Bridge. But starting in the south is the Walt Whitman Bridge, then the Ben Franklin, which I'm standing on, and then the Betsy Ross Bridge, the Tacony Palmyra Bridge, and finally the Bristol Bridge, all linking Pennsylvania in the Philadelphia area to New Jersey, crossing the Delaware. Another sweeping view of the city behind us. Now, I moved very quickly there because I wanted to catch the train, which I could hear and feel rumbling beneath me, and there it goes into the distance. That's one of the towers of the 4 anchorages, which is a hard word to say. But there are 4 massive anchorages that enable the steel cables to be embedded actually down into the bedrock of the earth. Here's the other one on the Philly side. They're actually beautiful inside. They have plastered ceilings and polychrome tiles, and they were actually meant as public spaces, although they are not used for that purpose today. But the inside, if you're able to open the door and go inside, you see it's a very beautiful room on the inside, as I said, with decorative tile work and mosaics and beautiful plaster artwork depicting various forms of transportation. But they are not open to the public. Many things changed after 9/11. We can't park under the bridge anymore like we used to for safety. Construction began, planning began just after the First World War. Construction began, I think, in 1921. The bridge was opened in 1926, dedicated during the Sesquicentennial, celebrating the 150 years of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And at that time, it was the longest suspension bridge in the world, from 1926 until 1929, and then the Ambassador Bridge, I believe it was, opened and was a little bit longer. Plaque for those who died. 15 men lost their lives in the building of this bridge. Now, Aaron, I stood here for quite some time waiting for the train, and, well, not quite some time, but it was a little chilly, and I was in the shade, so I didn't actually catch the train. But that's the track below me, and we don't actually get to see the train coming over, but I tried. Those are the municipal piers. For various ships to come into Philadelphia and dock there. Front Street down below. Just another pretty shot of the river. major highway, elevated highway we see there is Interstate 95. I believe you are neighbors to the north in Boston. You buried it. I think that was the Big Dig. Is that correct? Looking down at the vehicular traffic, which does run in two directions. At one time there were trolley tracks actually on the main bed of the bridge. Those tracks are gone, and the high-speed lines are the trains that are in use today. Now we're looking out over the Delaware River. The river, of course, continues to run south as it borders New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and then it, of course, opens up into the beautiful Delaware Bay and then right out into the Atlantic Ocean. Another view of the municipal piers, one of which you can see all the way on the right has been stripped of its building and turned into a park. You'll see a little bit of grass and some trees. It's right next to the railing of the bridge. You may be even able to see some folks out there enjoying the sun, keeping their distance. Now looking into the city of Camden, New Jersey, and we're going to zoom in here and show you a building I've spoken about before. That's the old RCA Victor, initially the Victor Talking Machine Company, later to become RCA Victor, and that's the tower to the right. You'll see a very modern looking building, and the City Hall in Camden to the left. But then there's a lower, well, okay. Sorry about that. I'm actually doing this voiceover inside as to not be trying to yell into the camera with all the wind. And now turning around and heading back into the city. We didn't take you all the way into my native state of New Jersey, just gave you a little bit of a hint of what it looks like. That's how close we are, right across the river. I'm over in New Jersey in just minutes. Here, just look at this. These, in the city, we call these ghost signs. You can see the old paint on the side of the old Wilbur Chocolate Factory. And if you'll look below the, well, once that truck goes by, must have been painted in the, looks very Art Deco, so I'm guessing probably the 1930s or 40s. You can just barely see there's a Coco sign there, and couldn't really make out what the other one was, but really neat old advertising on the side of that building. At least 80 years old. Another view of one of the streets in Old City. The neighborhood of Old City. That, of course, is the entrance down into the subway to catch the Jersey trains, which looks as if we're going to go downstairs, but we are not. I like this sign. Hold it. This is not a public restroom. Please respect Philadelphia and seek relief in an appropriate place. In other words, please do your business in a comfort station or lavatory, but not down the subway steps.